Alright, hello. Welcome to this video about the Long Island Railroad delaying the rollout of the brand new M9 fleet of cars that were first introduced back in 2019. So, we are going to get into this article that was written by Alfonso Castillo, which was brought up today, believe it or not, by Channel 1 during the In the Paper segment, which, given that, again, the Long Island Railroad does serve Queens, so this is a big deal, of course. So we are going to read this right now. Controller, Long Island Railroad, partially to blame for the delays and rollouts of the M9 fleet. So this is only in Newsday. The Long Island Railroad deserves some of the blame. Hang on, I'm just going to zoom out so you can read this. That's better. Long Island Railroad deserves some of the blame for a 3-year delay in the rollout of its newest fleet of trains because it knowingly accepted cars with more than 9,000 defects or deficiencies that had to be repaired, a new report said. The audit from the Office of New York State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli cited the railroad for its inaccurate oversight of its train car manufacturer, Kawasaki Railcar Incorporated, and for failing to collect $5.5 million in damages because of a slew of problems in the new trains, including some that already had been put into service. DiNapoli in a statement said, "New train cars for the Long Island Railroad were delivered late and needed repairs. In addition, the railroad has yet to gain any of millions of dollars it has a right to claim for the manufacturer for these conditions." Kawasaki did not immediately respond for a request to comment. In a formal response to DiNapoli's office, then Long Island Railroad President Philip Ang said, "The railroad fundamentally disagrees with the audit's conclusions and that its top priority and key to ensure Kawasaki's compliance with the contract and to ensure the Long Island Railroad receives safe and reliable cars for our customers and workforce." So, between 2013 and 2017, the Long Island Railroad paid about $724 million for 202 M9 model electric rail cars, which were supposed to be in service by 2019. But according to the report, as of last August 2021, 100 of the cars were delivered on the Long Island Railroad. So, they are so-called unicorns. There's 1,200 cars that had led to some commuters to dub new trains the unicorns. So here it says, the Long Island Railroad said yesterday that 126 out of the 202 cars it ordered are already in service and that it expects to receive the remaining cars sometime later this year. Long Island Railroad spokesman Dave Steckel said, "The Long Island Railroad has been aggressively managing the contract, holding the vendor accountable to address any issues at their cost. The railroad expects that all cars will meet the high standards of quality, safety, and comfort that our customers expect. Many of the cars the Long Island Railroad has received so far has been riddled with deficiencies, including improper stripping of wire insulation, poor crimping, missing heat shrinking, and bent pins." The report, as of August 2020, the Long Island Railroad accepted 62 rail cars with 9,230 defects or deficiencies. Other problems included loose cab control equipment such as button and lights and non-operational waste tank. The railroad said that Kawasaki will cover the cost of the repairs. Because of inefficient inspections of the rail cars before delivery to the Long Island Railroad, many of the problems have been entrusted to a Long Island Railroad facility at the Hillside Support Facility in Queens, contributing to the delays in rollout. The report said proper inspection at the contractor's facility and acceptance of only cars without defects would minimize these problems and improve car production. In its response to the audit, the Long Island Railroad acknowledged the delays of the rollout of the new fleet, but disputed that railroad officials allowed the cars to ship them before issues identified in testing were addressed. President Ang said at the time, any other issues that arose after the cars were delivered to the Long Island Railroad were unrelated to the limited testing they underwent before being shipped. Ang also added the Long Island Railroad strongly disagrees that they contributed to delays by accepting cars with deficiencies. an industry practice to conditionally accept cars with non-safety related minor defects because it allows the agency to safely bring new cars to passenger service while correcting the minor defects, wrote Eng, who resigned back in February. Although the Long Island Railroad took several measures to address the problems, including meeting with Kawasaki executives and insisting on an increase in staffing, ultimately, the remedial actions taken were not effective. The Napoli's office calculated that under the terms of its contract, Kawasaki owes the Long Island Railroad at least $5.5 million in damages for the delays. The report projected that number to grow to $12 million. Eng said the Long Island Railroad will decide at the appropriate time how to assess and collect any damages. The report also criticized the Long Island Railroad for not ensuring that Kawasaki adhered to all safety provisions and for not following the MTA's guideline for notifying the contractor of less than satisfactory performance. The Long Island Railroad disputed both of these findings. So there you go. I mean, same old Long Island Railroad, No surprise. So I want to go to this right here. I want to watch this. So let's zoom out. And we're going to watch this video regarding how things are going at Penn Station.
For more than 100 years, the Hotel Pennsylvania has stood here in front of Penn Station, but work is already underway on demolishing the hotel, along with dozens of other buildings here in this area as part of a broad redevelopment of Penn Station. Now, preservationists are concerned that knocking down these historic buildings are going to transform the community around Penn Station. But MTA Chairman Janno Lieber said the benefits that Long Island Railroad commuters will reap make it worthwhile.
The GPP is being run by ESDC under the governor's leadership. It is a land use process. The MTA is not in charge. But I will say, again, speaking for myself, as part of this bigger plan, there are really important reasons to do an appropriate rezoning of this neighborhood. Okay? One is climate change. It is an absolute necessity that we put our jobs next to the best mass transit. We have to encourage the use of mass transit, and that means putting modern office buildings next to the best mass transit. It's the only way we're going to get underground concourses and new entrances to Penn. Those are really important from a transit standpoint as well. I'm not speaking for the governor, not speaking for ESDC, but as somebody who's worked in the area of development and infrastructure and policy, I think it's a plan that really deserves serious consideration.
Now, project officials say that the revenue that will be generated from the 10 new skyscrapers that are going to be put up around here are needed to fund the improvements underground, including taller ceilings, wider walkways, and other improvements to benefit Long Island Railroad commuters. But opponents question whether it's necessary at all. They say the most meaningful change that could be made is to relocate Madison Square Garden altogether. For Newsday, I'm Alfonso Castillo.
So that's what's pretty much going on with the Long Island Railroad, to summarize everything. And, all I'm going to say is, regards to the M9s, I mean, the railroad should have known better if there were a lot of defects, and they felt that, trying to rush it was the right thing to do at the time. And, bottom line is, hopefully the trains are coming, and Newsday, I will give them credit for at least reporting on this. So that's it.